Hi, I'm Dr. Jen Harrison from drjenniferharrison.com, and I'd like to talk to you today about your habits and ask you the question, are your daily habits a help or a hindrance? So over the years, we all develop habits. Some we repeat daily, some weekly, some monthly, and so on. So I'd like you to stop for a moment and think about all of your daily habits. What time do you wake up in the morning? Do you eat breakfast? What do you have for breakfast? Do you shower in the morning? Do you shower at night before you go to bed? What route do you take to work? How many cups of coffee do you have a day? How do you take your coffee? What do you eat for snacks or for lunch or for supper? What's your exercise routine? Do you even work out? What TV shows do you watch? What video or computer games do you play every day? What time do you go to bed? Now, all of these habits or repeated behavior patterns have been developed over many years, oftentimes, sometimes weeks, but in most cases, it's over many, many years. And most of our basic habits, like brushing our teeth, for example, we were taught as children by our parents. So, what happens in your brain and your body when you create a habit? Well, essentially, you end up laying down a specific neural pathway. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, in your brain, you have many brain cells or neurons that communicate with one another. And so when you repeat a behavior or even a thought pattern over and over and over again, the connections between all the neurons become stronger. So the longer the behavior they're repeated, the stronger and more entrenched the neural pathway becomes. So it's kind of like if there's a park with a green space and you walk across this green space or this patch of grass every day. Now, if you were to walk across it just once, then you wouldn't really see much difference in the grass. But if you walk across the same spot every day, pretty soon you'll start to see a path. You'll be able to visibly see that. Now, if you were to repeat this action multiple times a day for many, many years, it would be equivalent to actually paving the path. So it's this repetition that makes habits become ingrained and easy to do. Now, the challenge comes in determining whether the habit is helping you or whether it's actually hindering you and acting as a hindrance. So, what I'd like you to do is just to spend some time writing down your daily habits. Then I'd invite you to review the list and decide which ones are helping you in your life. So, which ones are contributing to your overall health, happiness, prosperity. Then I'd invite you to review the ones that are not helping, the ones that are a hindrance. Then ask yourself, what needs to happen to change these habits or repeated behavior patterns that are hindering you from being as happy and healthy as you could be? Now, what I would recommend would be to pick one of these non supportive habits and figure out how to change it. Now, where most people go wrong when they're wanting to make a positive change in their life is they try to do too many changes all at once. And so that's why most people, I saw a study that said about 92% of people are not successful in keeping their New Year's resolutions. They're trying to make too many changes all at once. Now, we've probably all heard the saying that it takes about 21 days to create a new habit. Well, that is actually a myth. That's right. This so-called 21-day rule was actually something that was written in a book back in the 1960s by a plastic surgeon who had observed that for most people it took about 21 days for them to start to become accustomed to how they looked after having had plastic surgery. And then for some reason, this got misinterpreted into the 21-day rule that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And it's become gospel. However, what the newer research actually shows is that on average, it takes about 66 days to create a simple habit. In the research study that showed that it took about 66 days for people to create a new habit, the habit was something quite simple, actually, like just drinking a glass of water after breakfast every day. And the 66 days was just the average. For some people, it only took 18 days. For other people, it was estimated it was going to take them up to 254 days. So there's a high degree in variation from one person to another when it comes to forming a new habit. The key thing with creating a new helpful or supportive habit is the same thing that needs to have or that happened to create the old habit in the first place. Repetition. So, when you're creating a new helpful habit, be kind to yourself and be consistent and cheer yourself on and give yourself credit. This kind of positive reinforcement actually helps to lay down the new neural pathway that you're creating in your brain. And you know what? If you miss a few days, then get right back on track as soon as possible. And once this new habit, like exercising regularly, for example, once it starts to become comfortable and familiar, then consider working on creating your next new helpful habit. Slow and steady wins the race when it comes to breaking old habits and creating new ones. Remember, on average, 66 days. But it's these helpful habits that really go a long way in helping you go from your stressed self to your best self.